Hi everyone, welcome back to Stamp with Anna. Today I'm going to make a sympathy card with you, and I'm found that my sympathy card stash has been depleted, sadly, and I do need a couple that I have to send out this week, so I thought I would make one with you. And this is the card we're going to make, and it's using the Peaceful Moments bundle from the mini catalog that is current now until June 2nd, I believe. And it has this set of stamps, which is all sentiments. And you have a birthday, sympathy, thank you, and some sentiments for the inside of the card. It also has this really nice set of dies here. We're going to use quite a few of those. So again, that's the Peaceful Moments bundle. And you'll notice here my card has a very soft look to it. And one of the things that I love about Stampin' Up's products, there are so many things I love, excuse me, about the products, but one of the things I really am grateful for is their color families. They have 4 major color families: the brights, the subtles, the regals, and the neutrals. And they have 10 colors that all are on the same palette, and so they blend beautifully. So I'm going to use this Subtles collection, and you can see all 10 of the colors here: Blushing Bride, Calypso Coral, Petal Pink, So Saffron, Soft Sea Foam, Pure Pizzazz, Mint Macaron, Pool Party, Balmy Blue, and Highland Heather. And they're all very subtle colors. So today I'm going to use the So Saffron, Soft Sea Foam, Pure Pizzazz, and the Highland Heather as my little burst of color. Before we get started, I'm going to show you 2 here. The Regal Collection, you can see these are all deeper colors. Then here is the Neutral Collection, which has your browns and tans and grays. And then this year, with their last color refresh, they did add this Merry Merlot. They brought back Mossy Meadow and moved Night of Navy from the Regals over to the Neutral. So they all blend nicely as well. And then lastly, there is the Brights Collection that obviously are bright. And of course they do have the in colors, which are a family of 5, but those only last for 2 years. But anyway, so this is the card we're going to make, and I used all of my colors from the Subtles collection. So let's get started, and I'll tell you what we have for supplies. Let me just move that over there. The card base is thick Whisper White. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, so that is the standard A2 card size. Then this card front is the Soft Sea Foam, and that is cut at 4 1/4 by 5.5. Then I have my layering piece, which is Highland Heather, and that is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have a piece of Whisper White, just to make a tiny. I'm going to put it with a tiny border around it, so that is 5 3/8 by 4 7/8. The first thing we need to do to start to build our card is we need to emboss on our Soft Sea Foam. And for that I'm using this Pinewood Planks Dynamic Folder. It's one of those really deep 3D ones. So when I make my sandwich, excuse me, I have my Big Shot platform, I have my embossing folder, my card, my paper inside, and then I'm just going to put 1 acrylic plate over it, because these are so thick you don't use 2 acrylic plates. I'm going to go do that, and I'll be right back. So here's my piece of embossed cardstock. You can see it's beautiful grain here. This is the embossed side, and if you turn it over, this is the debossed side. You could certainly use either side. I'm just going to go with the embossed side. So what I'm going to do is just attach some snail along all 4 sides, and then I'm going to just place that right over my white. And the reason I'm doing it on the white instead of making my card base Soft Sea Foam is because the white is thick white, and it's nice and sturdy for a card base. If I were to use the Soft Sea Foam by itself without embossing it, it too would be a nice sturdy card. But because I'm going to emboss it, that breaks down the fibers a bit, so I just feel like I wanted it to be sturdier. And this way too, my inside of my card is already white, and I can write right on that, or stamp right on that. So here we have the beginnings of our card. The next thing I'm going to do is bring in my Whisper White, and with my Highland Heather, I am going to stamp from that stamp set, Peaceful Moments, this sentiment here, with Deepest Sympathy. And I'm going to stamp that right up in the top right corner. Okay, and while I have my stamp pad out, I'm going to do the inside of my card. Now for the inside of my card, although this Peaceful Moments does have a sentiment I could use that says thinking of you with all my heart, for the person I'm sending this to, that doesn't quite fit. I am sending it to someone I wouldn't quite say that to. So I'm going to bring in the stamp sent Kindness and Compassion, and I'm going to use this sentiment here, sending comforting hugs and healing prayers, so sorry for your loss. That's more in line with the relationship I have with this person, and it does have other simple our sincerest condolences from all of us. It's a nice stamp set. But anyway, like I said, that is what fits my situation. So I'm going to open up the inside of my card. I'm going to ink up the stamp set. The stamp, excuse me. Oh, there it is. Sending comforting hugs and healing prayers, so sorry for your loss. Okay? Now I'm going to put that aside. All my stamping is done. I'm going to close my stamp pad so I don't have any mishaps. Now I'm going to do my layering. I'm going to take this white piece and I'm going to layer that right in the middle of my Highland Heather piece. And I have just a tiny border. That's all I want. And now I'm going to attach this to my front of my card. And right in the middle. And just, you can see, just a little bit of that embossed background shows. I could have made this smaller, but I wanted to have more room for my flowers because the flowers are quite large. So for the flowers, we're going to do some die cutting. And it's a good way to use up some scraps. So the first thing I'm going to do, okay, so from my Whisper White, I'm going to cut out the backgrounds of both of my flowers. From some So Saffron, I'm going to cut out my two detailed flowers. From some Basic Black, I'm going to cut out, I'm going to use up every bit of this paper. I'm going to cut out my two centers. And then from some soft sea foam, I'm going to cut out 3 background leaves. And from some Pure Pizzazz, I'm going to cut out 3 detail leaves. I'm going to go do all of my die cutting and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with all my pieces and now I have to start to build my card. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little flower and here is the overlay that goes on it. I'm going to line it up as I need it to look, and I'm going to turn it over. And with my glue pen, you can certainly use it Stampin' Up's fine tip applicator, but I like my glue pen here. And then I'm just going to line these up. And because it's liquid glue, I have a minute to just press that in place, okay? There's that. Then I have this small little piece here that is going to be the center of my flower. A little bit of glue. And you notice I'm using my fine, my silicone mat, because that way I don't get glue all over my work surface and I don't make too much of a mess. And that goes right there. So now my flower is put together. And I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to do the same thing with my large flower. I'm going to line that up first, and then I'm going to flip it over, and again using my glue pen, just want to make sure that I get a lot around the edges so it doesn't lift. And these are really small little borders, and I'm going to use some snail for the center. I'll turn that over, and then here's this little piece here, and I'm going to use in my center. They did have a third option for a center, but I wanted to use this one. The other one I wasn't crazy about. Okay, and now I'm going to push that off to the side, and then I have my leaves. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing with my leaf here. I'm going to turn it over and apply my glue, and then I'm just going to attach. Okay, I've already done my other two leaves, so you didn't have to watch me do that. So here are all my components, and now all I have to do is bring it in, is build it up. But before I start putting things down, adhering things down, I do want to dry fit it. So I do want that that sentiment to be seen. So I'm going to play around with these here. Now I want two leaves to go like this, keeping them inside. So this, I'm going to shoot that up just a tad. And one leaf I want, maybe over here, or maybe over here. And I think I'm going to put it over here, like in my original. All right, so now that I'm happy with it, I'm going to start securing things. So I'm going to bring in my snail and apply some snail to the back of my leaf and fix that there. This one here is going to come down about here. And now I'm going to attach my large flower. And again, I do want my With Sympathy to be unobstructed. And I'll put my leaf right about here. And then my other flower right about here. And there we have it. It's a lot of die cutting, but I think it's so worth it. Isn't that very pretty? With deepest sympathy, sending comforting hugs and healing prayers. So sorry for your loss. If you have any questions at all about either this project or any of the products I used, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. And all of these products come from the current mini catalog, which is live from January through June. If you don't have a catalog, certainly contact me through my blog, and I'll be glad to get one out in the mail to you. And I do hope that you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel so you'll get notices every time I post a new project. And thanks so much. Have a great day.